If you love 80s music,
please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.
So welcome to the Tuesday 80 Zoom room, Carol. Lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you, Carol. And today we've got China in our hands in your honour. So cheers.
Well, I've probably heard that again.
No, I've never heard that before, ever.
Bet we were saying that.
So we interviewed you backstage at the Rewind Festival. I think it was back in 2018 when it was a heat wave and when life seemed so much better. I bet you've been missing live music. You must have had lots of concerts cancelled throughout the whole pandemic.
I did, yeah. 2020 was really busy for me. I had all the festivals like Rewind, and then about 10 to Power gigs, and also I had a whole bunch of these classical concerts which I've been doing just lately with orchestras and stuff, a lot across Europe. So fingers crossed they're coming back online for this year. So part of one or two have been completely cancelled, but sort of 98% of them have been postponed and hopefully are going ahead. Well, I was on Rewind Scotland, but that got cancelled because Nicola Sturgeon's got her own thing going on. I've got a lot of Let's Rock, which is a similar plan. Yeah, and that's great. So I am going up to Scotland with that one, lots across the UK, Northern Ireland, which is the UK as well, obviously, and a load of Power gigs as well. Yeah, so hopefully busy.
Yeah, fingers crossed, Carol, because you've been keeping busy during lockdown, and we especially enjoyed your video for Be Wonderful. Firstly, the song was really good, and then we found it really good fun that you were sort of using stuff that you were doing during lockdown, you know, kids' toys, Nerf guns and all that sort of thing to make it really fun.
Yeah, well, my kids, since we did the video for Be Wonderful, so you're quite right, we used household objects. It stars our dog, our duck, our chickens.
That was great.
We tried to make it as funny as possible, but since then we have had a bit of a clear out, so some of those toys have gone down to the charities things. So.
At least you'll remember them all in that video, Carol. You can watch that.
Yeah.
Right. Your latest single, Guess Who's Sorry Now, we absolutely love.
It's so good.
It sounds like a real classic on first listen. It's one of those songs where you're singing along and it's the first time you've heard it, so it's definitely going to stand the test of time.
We like to make things catchy, you know, just good old-fashioned catchy, really.
Oh, it's got the T'Pau sound that we love. It really is good, and it's doing so well in the Heritage chart. So it's number 13, isn't it, in the Heritage charts?
It is.
And doing well on iTunes.
It did. It went to number 27 on iTunes. It's probably dropped down since then, but I couldn't get over that because, you know, it's very difficult to get traction on your new music. You know, our classic hits get played all the time, and that is amazing, fantastic, and thank you everybody who plays them. But it is difficult to get traction on new music. So I was chuffed with the Heritage chart and the iTunes chart. It's great.
Yeah, we were actually going to ask you about that, Carol, because you said in the past that it's quite difficult getting new stuff out there. So is this heartening to you know, to have these outlets now that are recognising that?
Yeah, and thanks to Mike Reed, who realised that there was a gap in the market as well. And I don't think he did it just for himself. I think he did it for all of us, you know, because it is difficult with very few exceptions. Do you remember a couple of years ago, BBC Radio 1 said, we're not playing Madonna anymore?
Yeah.
Hello. So that just gives you an idea that they kind of put you in little boxes. And I guess, and they've all got their sort of the demographic they're aiming for, and all the world's run by sodding algorithms now, isn't it? But you know, the music business has always been a bit like this, to be honest.
Actually, I'm just reading Gary Newman's autobiography, and he said he went through a phase, you know, not long after his many hits, when he said he didn't get airplay on Radio 1. So he didn't say why, but
he recently gave an interview and talking about streaming, and he had a million downloads, I think. He earned about 30 quid.
No,
streaming. We all stream. It's not going to stop. And my kids have got a Spotify account, you know, but it decimated writers' royalties, decimated it. I mean, like turned it into dust.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's sort of our pensions, really, you know, those royalties going forward on big hits that you had.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, even Paul Weller said that he's had millions of airplay, and yet he got about a really sort of paltry figure for the amount.
10 grand, but
Yeah.
it was nothing compared to the amount of streams that the new album had, and it's not right. And we're always battling, and it got presented to I think a parliamentary committee. You know, we've got like PRS and BASCA and different agencies that are supposed to represent us, trying to sort this out or get some better deals for us, but nothing really seems to change, and that can be really depressing. And it's a hard, you know, it's like, don't get out your tiny violin, but you know, if people think, oh, rich pop stars, sod them, but okay, forget about, and I'm not a rich pop star, by the way. I'm a sort of comfortable pop star. How do young bands earn any money if they never earn money from their songwriting, because everything's free, everything.
So it's sad the way it's gone, isn't it? Really sad. Going back to Top of the Pops days, Carol, what was it like to be on Top of the Pops for the first time? And what was it like backstage? Was there sort of rivalry between the different groups, or did you all sort of mingle?
No, we didn't really mingle. Everybody had their own. It was at Shepherd's Bush White City, which is a massive building, and it's circular. And there are all these long corridors, and all the dressing room doors are very, very thick and heavy. So you couldn't even hear the overspill of other conversations. It was kind of very isolated, and runners would come and get you and take you straight to the stage. People weren't milling around, and you weren't allowed to, because on the studio floor then the cameras were like cranes with the bass like the size of a Dalek, you know, 2 Daleks stuck together, and you were very carefully directed by floor managers to keep out of the way. You could actually get hurt. There was some rivalry. Absolutely, there was some rivalry, and I know it because I felt it. And also by contrast, now when most of us meet up at the 80s festivals now, it's so much friendlier, because nobody's jostling for a place in the charts and concerned about you and if you're ahead of them. And
that must be lovely actually now.
It is. It's very nice to, you know, have a glass of wine and chat back. Well, you've been backstage, you know what it's like.
It's a great atmosphere backstage there.
So growing up, we all had posters on our walls. I had Duran Duran's John Taylor. Sue had Paul Weller. Who did you have on your wall when you were growing up?
I had a lot. I was a bit in love with Michael Jackson. We're about the same age actually, so it wasn't like I was so much younger than him. Yeah, I had him, and when he was in the Jackson 5, I was mad about the Jackson 5. And remember they had a cartoon series on the television.
Oh yes, yeah.
And I just I had lots of posters of Michael Jackson. And who else did I like? I liked Rod Stewart. I had a couple of posters of him on my wall. And I think as well I had Debbie Harry. I loved Debbie Harry.
Loved Blondie,
beautiful. She was so beautiful, wasn't she?
Well, just stunning, effortlessly cool and inspirational. So I think I had Debbie on the back of my bedroom door.
Did you ever have any secret crushes on your fellow 80s stars?
Oh yeah, I had a massive crush on Paul Young. And also the late and lovely lead singer of Big Country, Stuart Adamson.
He was lovely.
So handsome in the flesh.
Was he?
Yeah, and also I met Brian Ferry back in the 80s, who again just had eyes like blue sapphires, and I was introduced to him, and I just
lovely.
And Michael Hutchence, oh my God, your knicker elastic just bang, fell to the floor when he walked past me. It just happened. The man was sex on legs, and we did a couple of shows with them, and we were in their dressing room was opposite ours, and they were in the same hotel as us, and it's just all I could do not to just go, take me now. Some people don't look as good in photographs as they do in the flesh. The charisma is a very physical thing, but Michael had he photographed beautifully. He had that Jagger quality to his stage performance, but when you were in his orbit, he oozed charisma.
I bet.
Yeah, completely.
You had a foray of presenting once, didn't you, Carol? You did Going Live with Philip Schofield. What was that like to be presenting? rather than.
It was great fun. I actually had an experience of that even earlier than that, having grown up in Shropshire. Often opportunities would arise at the now defunct Pebble Mill Studios. It's something I felt very confident and comfortable doing, and I have done down the years. I've done presenting and on the radio.
Did you get to meet Gordon the Gopher in his broom cupboard, Carol?
He didn't take me to his broom cupboard, but he was hiding behind the sofa. We had a tiny little Tapau leather jacket made for Gordon.
Oh, brilliant!
It was like a minuscule replica of our talk jackets.
Did he do a duet with you, Carol?
I remember. I'm sure it's up online somewhere. I might have. Yeah.
We've got 5 quick fire questions, if that's okay now, Carol. Is that okay?
As long as my brain's functioning. Yeah, go
on. So number 1, first record you ever bought?
Single Rocket Man by Elton John.
Oh, brilliant.
Right. Second question, the best concert you've ever been to?
Oh, that's a hard one. I can't. I would have to probably say Muse in Madrid about 7 years ago. It was just spectacular, and they had all these drones and stuff. It was just level to anything I've ever done. Yeah, so Muse.
Oh wow. Number 3, have you ever had a pinch me moment when you've met somebody that you've always admired, Carol? Somebody?
Debbie Harry.
Oh, you met her?
Yeah, very briefly. I was in Atlanta, and it was a massive radio station, and there was me and Taylor Dane and Debbie and a couple. We all had singles out at the same time, so we were doing press junket, Yeah. And it was like just leaned up against. We didn't take the band. You were just pulled onto the stage to chat down the DJ's mic to the audience, and then they played your song. Yeah, it was a bit like that. And she was just waiting for her turn, and I smiled at her. She smiled at me, and she went, "Hey!" And Heart and Soul was like number 4. It was really big, high up in the American charts, and she just went, "Hey, Carol, nice tune."
That must have been amazing.
And I just went, I just couldn't speak. I just, I could.
What a moment!
Yeah, well, I was dumbstruck, which for me is, as you can imagine, yeah.
The question 4, what's been the most embarrassing moment that's happened to you in public?
There's been so many. Just an ordinary embarrassing thing. Okay, when I was really young, I went on my bike to my friend's house to see if she wanted to go out for a bike ride. And she wasn't there, and I was just getting back on my bike, which was propped up against a wall, and this boy who we all fancied, he was doing his paper round, and he stopped to talk to me, and I felt a huge fart coming, what am I going to do? So I carried on talking, and I sat down on the wall thinking I could sneak it out, but the wall made it reverberate, so it sort of went on the wall. And I just still kept talking like nothing had happened, because you have to front it out, don't you? And I could see his eyes saying, "Did she just? I think she just." And I just go. So anyway, I just kept on chatting, and I've never forgotten that. I was about 14, but that's
a great story.
Did that ruin your romantic chances there, Carol, with that particular lad?
Yeah, I think he stopped delivering our paper, just threw it on the lawn and ran away.
Question 5, Carol, what's been the highlight of your career so far? I'd imagine there's quite a few, but if there's one moment for you.
That's a hard one to answer, because instinctively I feel you want to hear Going to Number 1 with China in Your Hand, which was amazing. And it was, but the day we got our record deal, for me, because it was a very hard one, Ronnie and I had been in and out of local bands, in and out of crap jobs, borrowing money off our parents, trying to keep it going for about 5 years. And we were always close but no cigar. We would get people sniffing around, and at the last minute they'd go, "Sorry, we don't think you're quite right." And time was ticking by, and by then I was 26, which is like apparently geriatric for the music business, so I got reliably informed. And then finally we got an opportunity to do a showcase for Siren Records down in London, because by now we'd gotten some London management. And they were owned by Virgin. Siren were owned by Virgin. So the MD, David Betteridge, and the A&R guy, Simon Hicks, came, and we performed 3 songs, and that's all we could do because we didn't have a band. So we cobbled together a band between a couple of guys we knew from home, a couple of musicians that the management had introduced us to in London. We literally had no time to rehearse, just sent everybody cassettes. Please get there early, we'll run through it. Keyboard player was late, I wanted to fucking kill him, you know, because this was like, I felt like it was my last chance, but turns out he was brilliant, so it mattered that he was late. And we performed these 3 songs, and just as football managers say, we gave it 110%. And it was like an episode of Fame. They just said, you've got a deal, let's do it here, let's do it right now. And and I literally, I think we ran up the walls and across the ceiling, and they said, they said to our manager, should we step outside, Chris, and we'll just talk about getting together to get the contracts. And we all went, thanks. Oh, great, thanks. And as soon as the door shut, we went, and I just, so for me, that was because I now had a chance. I now had a shot.
Oh, what an amazing moment. That's incredible, Carol.
Oh, thanks so much, Carol. Thanks for talking to us today. We hope to catch up with you at festivals, hopefully, later this year.
Always a pleasure to talk to you, Carol.
Take care.
Bye.
80s music.
Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.